now they have?
Well, clearly they don't have a mandate to govern Scotland. They are the government because the Liberal Democrats have ushered them in, and because the Labour Party refused to set about an alternative anti-Tory coalition. They are the government, but they have no mandate because 85% of the people of Scotland voted against having a Tory government.
The coalition has double the amount of seats at Westminster that you have.
Well, you were asking me, do the Conservatives have a mandate to run Scotland? And I was pointing out that any reasonable observer of the political scene would say that 85% of the people voted against Conservative rule. That was the thread running through last Thursday's election. But obviously, as the Scottish Government, with a mandate to run Scotland, we'll be doing our best to defend Scottish interests at all times. Cooperation where cooperation is possible, of course. But our marching orders come from the Scottish people, and our supreme objective is to pursue the Scottish interest.
Now, you had hoped to be part of a coalition that would be able to hold Westminster hostage, if you like, over spending cuts in Scotland. You won't be able to do that now, will you?
Well, look, Jackie, I never said anything about holding Westminster hostage.
That was the
term.
implication,
But what I did
though.
say... Well, that's your implication, Jackie. What we were advancing was the Scottish cause. It would be rather nice, and there's 5 million folk in Scotland, incidentally, who will agree with me, at this precise moment, if we had decisive influence in the Westminster Parliament to protect and pursue the Scottish interest. That's an entirely legitimate political objective, and if the Labour Party hadn't walked away from the prospect of the anti-Tory coalition and thus delivered Scotland into the hands of a Tory government, then perhaps that would have come about. But we are where we are, and therefore the Scottish Government and the Scottish Parliament have to defend and promote the Scottish interest at all times, and that's what we'll do.
And you will work with David Cameron and Nick Clegg?
Well, clearly we cooperate where cooperation is possible, and if we can get agreed positions in the best interests of Scotland, then that's exactly what we'll do. For example, the agreement which was secured during the election campaign not to implement cuts in Scotland this coming year because budgets have already been set. Now that is a step forward, but it also means, as Brian Taylor said in your report, that what the Conservative and Liberal parties intend to do is pile up the cuts for the year after next. That is not a good step, and it's one that we'll vigorously argue against in protecting vital frontline public services and the economy of Scotland.
Alex Salmond, thank you for joining us tonight.
A great pleasure, thank you.
And that's all from me at Westminster for now. I'll be back a little later in the programme